What's up, you guys? Today I'm going to be doing my foundation collection routine video for you. The reason I really wanted to do this is because I'm about to kind of clear out a ton of my foundation because for the millionth time I am going cruelty-free. So I wanted to kind of show you the foundations that I built up over the past 2 years or so. Most of them are getting too old to have anyway, so I need to go ahead and throw them out. But like I said, I also am just kind of moving past all of it because I am going to be going into my cruelty-free foundation from here on out, but I did just want to kind of give you like some pros and cons to the foundations that I've used. Obviously I have been using them a lot and I've had a lot of experience with them, so I wanted to give just like some pros and cons and give you my favorites. I will be honest, even though a lot of these aren't cruelty-free, I will of course still just tell you my favorites and the ones that were kind of like my ride or dies before I am getting rid of them and won't be repurchasing them anymore. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. So to start off with, I'm going to mention one that probably was my most used foundation, maybe of all time. I don't know, there's one other one in here, actually I'm speaking too soon. This is probably my second most used foundation of all time. This is the Maybelline Fit Me. This one is like the original packaging because then they switched it over to the Dewy and Smooth or the Matte and Poreless, and I don't see these original packaging anymore. This is from like 2 years ago probably. I shouldn't even have that anymore. I don't use this. It's kind of just been sitting on my vanity. These, I will be honest, I was never even like super crazy about. It's one of those where like, because it was so hyped on YouTube and just like everyone was talking about them, I kind of bought them and I liked them okay. So I just used them for a really long time because I was like, screw it, like they work okay for me, but I was never super crazy about these. The Matte and Poreless seemed to be kind of patchy on my skin. It never really, it sweated off on me really easily, even for being matte and poreless. To be fair, the majority of the time I was using this was when I was out in LA staying for a month. But even then, it seemed like it didn't stand up to the weather out there, and it's supposed to be matte and poreless. So for me, if like a matte and poreless is like sweating off my face and I don't even have super oily skin, then like it's a little concerning. I actually preferred the Dewy and Smooth, even though this actually seemed to be like less oily on me than this one. I don't know why, but I did use these for a really long time. I purchased probably like 8 or 9 bottles of this foundation. I used it for a really long time. The color selection is really good, I will say that, and if you're looking for more of like a satin finish, then I think the Dewy and Smooth is really good because it's not too dewy on me, and like I said, I even sometimes have more of like a oily complexion, and this is like not too dewy on me. So I would say if you're looking for like a kind of like satin to slightly dewy finish, that the Fit Me would be pretty good choice for you. And like I said, the color selection is also awesome, so if you're looking for that, then you probably will find a pretty good selection in this as well. Next up, I'm going to be talking about the Estee Lauder Stay in Place Double Wear Makeup. This stuff was a favorite for me for a really long time. I bought this in the springtime of, I think it was like, not this past spring, but the spring before. So once again, this is like completely empty. That's why I was saying I have a lot of like empties that I kind of wanted to just review as well. This was a favorite for me for a long time. Like I said, I brought it I think in the spring going into the summer. This stuff is like glue to your skin. I mean, I know this has been all over YouTube, so like most people are going to know about this before me even giving any kind of, you know, advice on it. But this stuff, if you have oily skin or if it's like summertime and it is humid and you find that your makeup sweats off really easy, this stuff is your golden ticket. I swear, this stuff, like, it's gonna sound really bad, but like, when I bought this, I was going out a lot, and so I would wear this on days where like I was working a double at work and then knew that I was going out later that night and was gonna be wearing this for like maybe all night, like until like 2 a.m., you know, for those like 16-hour days, and like, man, did it hold up. Like, this just looks flawless all day long. You don't have to like repowder it, it just stays on your face. Obviously Estee Lauder is not cruelty free, so I will not be repurchasing this, but I really love this foundation for a long time when I was using it. This was a go-to for me on any of my days that I knew I needed to have a long wearing foundation. This is a random one for me. Once again, a lot of these are really old and I just need to get rid of them and I need to throw them away, but I'll talk about it anyway. This is the Rimmel BB Cream 9-in-1 Skin Perfecting SPF 25 sunscreen in the shade Light. So I guess it's just the Rimmel BB Cream. I bought this like 3 years ago. Once again, like, this is one of those I need to throw. I like never really go through my makeup and throw stuff away. This has just been sitting around for forever. It's actually empty. I haven't used it in forever. I wasn't crazy about this BB cream. I mean, it's Rimmel, so I think it was like $2.99. It's like, you can't really be too mad about it because it's like, it's $2.99, but I wasn't crazy about this. For a BB cream, this was really thick. It was like goopy And I mean, it looked okay once you put it on your face. It didn't look super cakey, but I felt like it just looked very makeup heavy. And for being a BB cream, that's definitely not what I would be looking for, if you know what I mean. BB creams are supposed to be more light and kind of like youthful and just like a, you know, tint kind of look. This was really heavy. I mean, I wish there was still some in here I would like show you. It's like it comes out like a sunscreen. Like it literally comes out like the consistency of like a thick sunscreen, and it kind of applies that way. It has a strong SPF smell to it. I don't know, I just wasn't crazy about this, and I think there's only like 3 shades, like light, medium, dark or something. Obviously they weren't making this for like, you know, it's just one of those, I bought it on a whim, and would I repurchase it? No, I would not, but it was $2.99, so, you know, whatever. Next ones I'm going to be talking about are probably the saddest. This is like the one that's been breaking my heart that I'm not going to be able to use it anymore. Every other thing I'm like, I can replace it, like I'll find, you know, almost like challenge accepted, like I'll find it again in like a different product. These guys are the L'Oreal True Match. Oh my gosh, I've been using these for like, I can't even remember, like at least over 4 years. This was like one of the first foundations I ever purchased, and I fell in love with it, and even like since then I will reach for these over a lot of my more high-end foundations. I just love these things. I think that I like the consistency. It has more of a watery based runny consistency, which I like, because once you put it on your skin you feel like it's not there. You don't feel like you're wearing a cake face of makeup. The color range in this is freaking awesome. I don't even know, I should have like looked this up before I started this video. I want to say there's like 24 shades total, I think, sounds right to me. Crazy shade range, and it has the it's like C, N, and W, so it's like they're supposed to be like the neutral or warmer tones, so it just has like, it has such a perfect kind of color range for drugstore makeup that I feel like you just don't find with anything else. Like I said, the actual coverage of it is like a medium, but you can build it up, doesn't look cakey, so I think you can reach almost a full coverage with this stuff. It just doesn't feel like you're wearing a, you know, face full of cakey makeup, and it doesn't look like it either. It sits really beautifully on the skin. It is more of like a satin to natural finish. I love this stuff. I am definitely sad I won't be repurchasing this anymore for sure, because this was like my go-to for at least like 4 years. This was my #1, so sad to see it go. So if you guys have any suggestions of anything that's near a L'Oreal True Match that is a cruelty-free foundation, please let me know, because I am definitely looking and on the market to be picking it up. So to talk about right after that, this is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi, which is basically the same thing. They just came out with this almost like the Maybelline Fit Me, like the matte and poreless and the dewy. This is kind of that same thing. It's just the Lumi version of it. I wasn't actually as crazy about this as I was just like the original formula. I know a lot of people, this kind of became their go-to after this came out. I liked this a lot. I bought a couple bottles of it, and I definitely used it, you know, more than once. But I wasn't the craziest about it compared to the original formula. I feel like the original formula just already has that kind of like natural, kind of like satin look to it, where this was just a little too like oily looking for me. If you have dry skin, I'm sure this probably would be more of your favorite. I have a normal to like combo skin, so this just wasn't my favorite. I found it made me oily in like random spots, but I did still like it a lot. I mean, I would use it a lot. I would just kind of like set those areas. But it was kind of like when I had the original version, it was like I would just pick that over this formula. But it did have a pump, which was kind of like, I'm annoyed that they still have not come out with the other L'Oreal True Matches with pumps, because they came out with this one with a pump, so that was like the #1 plus for me when I was buying this. I was really excited about it, which is dumb, but whatever. So yeah, anyway, I would just normally pick the original formula over this one, but this is still a really good formula, and I think that if you had dry skin, you would really enjoy this. So. Next, I'm going to be talking about the Rimmel Stay Matte Foundation or Liquid Mousse Foundation in the shade Ivory. This stuff is like still pretty much completely full, and I bought this once again like 4 years ago. Not really a fan of this. Once again, it's very similar to the Rimmel BB Cream in that it like, I don't know, you're not going to be able to tell. Let me try and see if I can like, it's not gonna come out. It has such a thick, like muddy consistency, which I just don't like those foundations. I'm not a huge fan of like, even if my foundation is full coverage, I still want it to kind of be like more runny so that you can blend it out easier. This stuff is just too thick. It's just cheap. You can just tell that it's cheap. I mean, if you have really oily skin, then maybe this would work for you. If you use like this and the Stay Matte powder like together, maybe it would work. I don't know. I haven't really talked to anyone that has like crazy oily skin. It definitely stays matte because it's so thick, but like I said, I just felt like this looked like mud almost on my face or something. Like it just had a really weird thick consistency, and it was pretty full coverage, but just not my style. Just wasn't a fan of this one. Next one I'm going to talk about is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation. I have mine in medium beige. This was a little bit of a love-hate relationship for me because when I first got this, the first couple times I used it, I really didn't like it. I found it made me oily in weird places. And I just didn't like it, felt like it never set. So what I have started doing recently is that I have started powdering certain areas of my face that tend to get oilier. And I've actually really started enjoying this foundation a lot. I feel like it lasts a really, when I set it with the powder, I feel like it lasts a really long time on the skin. And it is cruelty-free and it is drugstore. So I think this might actually become kind of like my new drugstore go-to foundation when it comes to cruelty-free. The shades suck. I think there's only like 6 shades and they're all pretty much close to this exact one. So that's kind of a downside. It does have a pump though, and for a drugstore, I love that. It is a thick consistency. It's not as watery. Like I said, I'm more of like a water-based kind of foundation girl, and it is thick, but I find that this actually blends out really easily. I don't have problems with this getting patchy or it looking weird on the skin because of how thick it is. So anyway, yeah, I am enjoying this. It's $9.99 at the drugstore. If you can find a shade of this that you match, because like I said, they do suck so bad with the actual selection. If you can find a shade of this, I would definitely recommend picking this up and just playing around with it because like I said, it was kind of an uphill battle with me, but I am starting to come around and actually really, really enjoying this one. Next, I'm going to talk about the Revlon Photo Ready BB Cream. I have mine in the shade Light Medium. This is another one of those, not a huge fan. I actually picked this up 2 summers ago when I was going to Bonnaroo and I wanted a, not foundation, I wanted like a BB cream specifically so that when I woke up I could just kind of like put it in my hands, wipe it all over because I wasn't going to be doing my makeup every day. I found this made me really oily. I just found it to be kind of a weird consistency and I just feel like it didn't last any time. I've even tried, obviously I've used it since Bonnaroo. I've tried using it a couple times and even when I set it, I feel like it just has a weird look. Like I feel like it doesn't make me look more youthful or just kind of like more fresh faced. I feel like it kind of makes me look just oily like right out the gate and then it just kind of like doesn't do anything since, like from there. So I'm not a huge fan of this, and this was Revlon, so I want to say this was like $11.99. It was basically like $12 at the drugstore, so it wasn't even one of those that was like super cheap from the drugstore. And I don't really like this. I don't know. I'm one of the ones I should say that I don't have to talk about that I used to use all the time was the Revlon Color Stay. I don't have any of those empties. I've thrown all of them away at this point. That was another one of my staples that I actually think is a really great foundation, really great. Obviously, I won't use it anymore because Revlon is not cruelty-free, but that was a really great foundation. Really great. I wish I had an empty. I could just kind of talk about it right now. I think if you especially have oily skin, I think it's one of those that it just stays on there. It's like glue for your skin, but it doesn't make you look cakey. I feel like it has a really good consistency. So if I was going to pick up one instead of the Revlon Photo Ready BB Cream, I would definitely pick up the Revlon Color Stay. That's kind of my little blip in there because I don't have an empty to talk about the Color Stay, but that one, the True Match and the Maybelline Fit Me were definitely kind of like my 3 go-to foundations that I use from the drugstore. I've repurchased over and over and over again. So if you had one to pick from Revlon, I would definitely do the Color Stay. And next one I'm going to talk about is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. I have mine in the shade Caramel Beige. A lot of these are summer colors. That's also why I'm throwing them out, is because like I've owned them from like last summer and I haven't used them all summer, so like it's ready for them to go. This is not my shade anymore, but I actually really love this foundation. This is another one of those that I wish was cruelty-free because I would definitely repurchase this if it was. I think that obviously if you don't have, or if you do have dry skin, this probably isn't going to be your best friend because it is very, very, very matte. But when I'm in the mood to kind of have that very kind of like non-dewy, just very like makeup but not makeup look, I really, really, really enjoy this foundation. I think it's so great. It keeps you shine free all day long. I don't even have to set this thing like with a foundation or like with any kind of powder or anything after I use it, and like man is it on there. Like I feel like this lasts all day long. Once again, it's like one of those that's like glued to your skin. I would compare this actually very much to the Estee Double Wear Foundation because I just feel like they're very similar. They have that kind of like staying power that I just feel like it's hard to find when it comes to foundation sometimes, but this is very, very matte, as well as the Double Wear is also matte as well. This I feel like maybe is the most matte foundation I've ever owned, which I don't mind if you put a little bit of highlight over top of it. It will give you like a nice dew anyway, but for people that are oily, I feel like this is just gonna be your best friend as far as like drugstore foundations go. So yeah.
What's that?
The next one I'm going to talk about is the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo Foundation. This one is interesting for me because I kind of went from loving this to hating it back to being okay with it. I have mine in the shade medium. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like I'm still on the fence because I will go back and forth with it. I feel like there's some days that I use it and it'll make my skin look super cakey and almost like I'm not wearing my own skin, like I have a mask on. And then I feel like I'll wear it some days and it'll look okay and it'll look fine. I still wouldn't say that I'm crazy about it. I don't think I would ever really repurchase it. I think there's better foundations on the market than this one. I'm trying to think of someone that would like this because I feel like even though it is a matte foundation, I found it to kind of make me oily throughout the day too. I feel like it's with the consistency again, because this consistency is thick. It is super thick. It's like the other like couple foundations that I were talking about that it's almost like clay or like mud when you pump it out. That's kind of what this is similar to. Very thick. And I'm wondering if just like the consistency is what messes it up for me, because it does make me oily though, which I feel like for it being a Lock-It tattoo foundation, you would expect it to kind of like wear the time and like last a really long time, and I don't really find that's true with this. I would still maybe use it. I mean, my bottle's like almost up. I have like, you know, this much left, and it is Kat Von D is cruelty free, so will I purchase in the future? I don't know. Like maybe if I just get like the weird feeling to one day, if I'm in Sephora and it's like calling to me or something, but I don't think I would really pick this up again because like I said, I just kind of like gone through stages with it so much and I still kind of just don't know how I feel about it. I feel like it always reacts differently on my skin. So still out on this one, I'm not sure. And the last one I'm going to talk about is the newest foundation that I tried, which is the e.l.f. Acne Fighting Foundation. I put this in a favorites not too long ago. I really like this stuff. I've noticed recently that there's a few things about it that I didn't notice at first, and I'm like a little bit more like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it now. I still do really like it. I think I will definitely repurchase it. It's only $6 from Target, so it's like, duh. But the actual shade range I think is really crappy. The only thing that I've noticed is that it starts to get a little patchy on my skin. I think that's like the biggest thing that I've started to be a little like weary about this foundation, because I feel like when I'm blending it out, it doesn't blend out super easily. So I feel like I have to use a lot of this product to kind of like dab it onto every single place on my face to like really get it not looking streaky. And then once I do that, I kind of feel like it's a thick layer and I can like feel that I'm wearing it. However, I do feel like this stuff wears very, very well. I feel like it lasts throughout the entire day. It does not fade on me. And it's not too matte, I would say. It kind of has like a natural satin finish, at least on my skin. So there's a lot of things I do like about this. Once again, e.l.f. is cruelty free, so I probably will be repurchasing this specifically just because it's such a great cheap foundation. It's like one of those that I feel like I don't mind wasting it on days where like I don't want to get all glammed up. I can just kind of like throw it on and not care. So yes, I definitely will be repurchasing this, and I do like this a lot. I just think I need to maybe figure out a different application method because lately I haven't been the happiest with it. But I do still really like this a lot, and I would definitely recommend to people, especially it is an acne fighting foundation, so it has salicylic acid in it. So if you ever have breakouts or things like that, I think this would be a great foundation for you to try out, because it does have like that drying factor a little bit to your skin. Not anything too intense, but a little bit. So do recommend this foundation for sure. So that is it for all my foundations. There are obviously a ton of bottles that over the past couple years I've thrown away. So like obviously I've probably owned like 10 other foundations that aren't in this because I've already tossed them or I just didn't keep the bottle. But for some reason, these are all the bottles that I just still had and I haven't thrown away. And I was like, I have probably half of this that I'm about to throw out, and I was like, you know what, I might as well do a little bit like review and talk about these. They've been sitting on my counter for 2 years. I might as well put a use to them. So I hope that you learned something from this, and maybe if you're in the field to pick up a new foundation, that maybe you got a trick or two as to whether you would want any of these. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.